Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, from wherever you are joining us from. It's great to have you with us. And we are welcoming people on Facebook Live this evening, as well as through our Zoom webinar link. It's wonderful to have you with us. We're going to spend a little bit of time together talking about the Learn Plus program. Now, your daughters may already have brought home some information to you about Learn Plus, and they may have told you the story of last Wednesday's information session that we ran for all of Year 10 students to give them an insight into this really exciting curriculum offering at Caroline Chisholm for Year 11 and Year 12. And so this evening, I've brought together our Learn Plus team, and it's made up of some teachers and coaches at the college, and we're really lucky tonight to have one of our Year 11 students with us as well. So let me begin by introducing the team, and if they just unmute themselves now and come and say hi. So first of all, good evening, Adam McNamara.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being a part of tonight.
Adam is our Learn Plus coach and has probably the most contact with our diploma students. Day by day is responsible for managing their learning and making sure that they're on track and have everything that they need. Next, I'd like to introduce Nikki Alsomgeest, who is one of our Pathways coaches and our partnerships manager as well. Hello, Nikki.
Oh, good evening, Greg. Great to be here as per usual.
And later on tonight, Nikki's going to be telling us about where the diplomas can lead beyond school. I'd also like to introduce Cara Oliver. Cara is another of our Pathways coaches. Hello, Cara.
Hi, Greg. How are you?
Good, thank you. Cara's already begun the work for Learn Plus next year and has been providing some coaching and some insight to some of our Year 10 students and their families already. And if you joined us for our school assembly a couple of weeks ago, you would have met Eliza McCabe. Hello, Eliza.
Hello, Greg. Hello, everyone. It's lovely to be here.
And Eliza tonight will be explaining to you why it's such a good idea for students to stay in school and do something like Learn Plus, particularly if they were considering leaving school before the end of Year 12. And our very special guest that we're going to say hello to is Bella. Hi, Bella.
Hi, sir.
Did you find your uniform okay to put it on tonight?
Yes.
It's been a while since you've worn it, right?
Yes.
Well, we're looking forward to talking to you a little bit later in the session about what it's like being a Learn Plus student.
No problem.
So let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen, and the Year 10 students who are joining us as well, to talk about what Learn Plus is, what it looks like, and how it works at Caroline Chisholm. Caroline Chisholm is the only school that I'm aware of that runs a program like this. It is a pathway through Year 11 and 12, where we have students undertaking diplomas instead of their HSC. And although they do some of the HSC subjects, they graduate with a diploma in a range of areas that are available to our students. And it comes from our understanding that all students are unique. And if there's something that I've learned over my 30 plus years of education, is that sometimes school isn't for everybody and the HSC isn't necessarily for everybody. And so what we decided about 4 years ago as a school was to begin the process of investigating what other pathways are available to students through Year 11 and 12, because the HSC really doesn't suit all students. Every year, 70,000 or so students in New South Wales sit the HSC exam. That's a lot of students. That's all of the students in Year 12. And it's my thinking, and it's the thinking of the people with us tonight and of lots of other educators, you would have seen it in the media, that the HSC and the ATAR can't be all that there is for young people. There's got to be something else. And it can't be the case that one credential, that one certificate, that one set of exams is going to meet the learning needs and the training needs of every young person in New South Wales. And so we set ourselves the task of finding a different way of providing a pathway for our girls through Year 11 and 12. And so at this point, I'm going to hand over to Eliza, who's going to talk to us a little bit about why school is a really good and healthy place for young people to stay right through to Year 12, even if the HSC may not be their goal. Thanks, Eliza.
No problem. So the great thing about Learn Plus is that you do get to stay at school while completing a credential. And the benefit of that is that you get to keep progressing in your knowledge and your learning journey in a really steady and familiar environment. So it allows you to focus on the credential and your studies without having to make any adjustments to any kind of new environment or unfamiliar territory. And it's better for those who remain at school. A study of 14,000 students actually has tracked over 10 years students staying at school and found that life outcomes are a lot better and enhanced, particularly for females who do remain at school during their senior years rather than leaving in year 10. So school is so much more than just the content that you learn. And I think this study goes to show that it's also a wonderful setting for developing life skills, really good habits to set you up for your future, lifelong friendships, and a really strong sense of community and sense of belonging as well. And also just a genuine love of learning that keeps progressing as you remain at school. And school offers character development as much as it offers content and subject learning and knowledge. So it's just as important to develop your character and commit to your self-development. And it's really, really brilliant that you get to continue to do this in a familiar setting with the teachers that you already know, the friendships you've already built, and the community that already is there to support you throughout your entire 6-year learning journey in high school. And I think lastly, I'd say that it's just always a really good thing to finish what you start. The determination and the perseverance that you gain from that kind of commitment and learning journey will pay off in any after school endeavor and any career that you choose to pursue. This kind of finishing what you start attitude is definitely going to serve you well in life if you commit to it. So yeah, I think all of that goes to show that staying at school is just a really wonderful opportunity if you get to do it, and the Learn Plus program offers that. So yeah.
I've had a lot of experience with young people who have decided to leave school before they finish year 12, and it's sad to say that the plans sometimes don't work out, that there's that shock that comes when students aren't surrounded by all of the supports that they're used to, particularly in a Catholic school like ours, where students in Learn Plus are still going to homeroom in the morning, they're still praying with their class, and they're still having all of those high school experiences. Some of the students that I've known who have left to go to TAFE or to start at a private college, there's some of the things that they've really, really missed, and it's made it hard for them to have the resilience to keep going.
Yeah, I think it's school, being in a school environment is a massive adjustment in itself, because it's a community setting. It's learning how to navigate different personalities. It's learning how to navigate learning itself. So you start to build up, your way of being at school and the way that suits you and works for you. And I think if you get to continue building those skills up and stay in that familiar environment and have the support that's already there for you, that you've, implanted yourself in, then it's just going to set you up even stronger because you have that firm foundation and you don't have to make any adjustments and be in unfamiliar territory, which is, can throw you.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Eliza, very much. So what we're talking about here is students who remain at year 11 and 12 at Chisholm College and have all of those wraparound services that make the college such a special, caring and safe place, whilst also doing something that is remarkably different from the other students. And so we're going to talk a little bit about how Learn Plus is different. We have students who are undertaking a range of diplomas right now, and some who will graduate this year, having finished year 12 with a full diploma qualification. And it's different because the HSC program is made up of, as you have probably heard, a set of 2-unit, 1-unit and extension courses that are all under the authority of NESA, the New South Wales Education Standards Authority, and that those are then examined at the HSC. Students, if they want to go to university, are ranked on those results, which produces the ATAR, and that ATAR is what universities use to take students into their undergraduate courses, bachelor's degrees, and so on. And so, in a sense, that's the path that most people in New South Wales who finish year 12 generally take. But a diploma is quite different to that. So I'm going to introduce Cara at this point, who is going to talk to us a little bit about how a diploma qualification is different from a HSC. Thanks, Cara.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Greg. Well, the diploma is just so amazing, and our students get to, and your daughters get to start their university pathway whilst at school. And as Eliza said, you have all those amazing, and Greg said as well, those wraparound services like your homeroom, your support, all the people on the screen tonight, which help you to work towards that career path. It enables you to be totally immersed in this area of knowledge that you want to partake in. Through your coaching and through your discovery of what it is that you want to do, you get to start to see the industry. You get to meet mentors and have networking experiences, which is so different often to what the traditional way of learning is. And it's a really powerful statement that you can show a university to say, look, I am actually experiencing university or at least, tertiary qualifications at school. And you often get that question, well, how is that possible? But through the Learn Plus, the girls are doing a diploma, and you'll hear from Bella later, who has just grown in, I guess, the opportunities of where she has had been speaking to all these mentors and these network industries, which allow her to grow and to develop and have that level of really high level of self-confidence whilst doing university accreditation whilst at school. Like, it's almost impossible. I mean, I so wish I had this when I was at school. It's so exciting.
So, Cara, can you explain for people who may not be familiar where the diploma fits into a bigger qualifications framework?
Absolutely. And I tell all the girls, especially all the year 10s, this quite often. So with the diploma, it sits under, it's a little bit different to where the HSC sits, but it's under the Australian Qualifications Framework, which is 10 levels of different training levels. So Greg, you're right at the top, and some of our students, as they're looking at Cert 1s, are sort of down the bottom. So our current HSC in its current form sits about level 3, and our diploma is a level 5. So we're 2 levels above what a traditional HSC looks like. And even better news, it's 1 level below a degree. So when Nikki starts to speak about all the university pathways, and you can see how studying and starting this career journey at school is then going to lead you into all these amazing university pathways. And also, it just shows an employer that you are more capable of doing a whole range of things. You're going to come to an employer with a whole toolbox of experiences, which most of the young people, I don't know of anyone except for our current 2 cohorts which actually have this. University qualifications, level 5 on the framework, and so much network and mentoring, collaboration experiences that you have.
Thanks, Cara. I think now might be a good point for all of those who are joining us tonight to, if you do have questions, to ask those questions. We're happy to answer them live tonight while we're online. So if you're joining us on Zoom, you're welcome to ask those questions into the chat box down on the right. If you're joining us on Facebook, just write a comment as a question and we'll see that and we'll be able to address it during the presentation this evening. If after tonight you still have questions, then you can contact any of us at the college and I'll explain how a little bit later. So I'm excited about the next bit of the presentation because Adam, our Learn Plus coach, is going to interview Bella about her experience. So over to you, Adam.
Thank you, Greg. Yeah, so the Learn Plus program and its background, we're talking about a situation where students are involved in what we call blended learning. And so that involves our students being online and also in person at school. And they're supported, as we've heard a little bit about tonight, by experienced coaches, pathways coaches, and a Learn Plus coach, but also they've got this incredible network of industry qualified and experienced trainers and staff that they work with at ACBC College, as well as mentoring with industry professionals they work with. And, willing with post-COVID, we'll be able to get more and more students into work placement as well. So tonight's an opportunity for Isabella to have a chance to talk with you. And I might just ask her a couple of questions just to give our audience tonight a chance to look a little bit behind what this badge is. And it's a question that we often get asked, what's the badge? And tonight we're just going to give you a little bit of an idea behind what this badge means. So Bella, this was you this time last year, of course. You would have been sitting here with your family as a Year 10 student considering doing a diploma instead of a HSC. Can you shed a little bit of light on why you chose Learn Plus as a pathway?
Yeah, of course. I think the main thing for me was going into year 11 and 12. You kind of have that frame, that mindset that you have to do the HSC and your mark is your mark. You can't change that. And that mark is something that's basically going to get you into university. That's all you're kind of thinking about. And for me personally, I knew I had a love for law, which is my diploma. And I was so worried that based on my learning style, I'm able to speak really well and I'm able to perform in class, but I'm not able to perform in tests, especially when I know that the tests are going to go to something so great. And looking at the HSC and seeing that I'm going to have to sit these exams and I'm going to be stressed and worried thinking about this one mark, it just wasn't a pathway I was excited about, and it shouldn't be like that for learning. So when I'm hearing about the diploma, it was kind of like an angel in disguise. It was an opportunity for me to kind of be more relaxed with my learning and enjoy my learning. And I think the thing that enticed me the most about it was not only am I learning so many things in an industry that I love so much, but I'm able to apply that learning to work placement, which is an opportunity that not many students get when they're in year 11 and 12, especially with the HSC pathway. Yeah.
That's right. And you've certainly shone in your learning and in that experience so far, and we're on the cusp of you going to work placement as soon as we can. And you've really shown by example, I think, Bella, the idea of being an independent learner, but someone who draws on that support that's around you. Can you give our audience tonight just a little bit of an insight into, you talked about exams being almost a one shot only, where you attempt it and you may not get the results you want or need, and therefore you feel as though you've fallen short a little bit. How's that different in Learn Plus in the way where you're assessed by the college?
Well, we go through, it's not tests as such, it's more assessments. And those assessments are basically touching on deeper knowledge. It's not as such as work that is provided by NESA that we usually do in classes. It's basically giving us that work knowledge that we'll be able to use in the future. And although we're sitting doing these assessments independently, which is a challenge. Yes, I'm not saying it's an easier pathway. It's a challenge for us because we're the ones who are taking the learning on ourselves, and we're deciding, okay, this is difficult, but I'm going to research, I'm going to make the difference. And I think with the amount of support that we have through the college, through ACBC, through the trainers here at school, I think I feel absolutely fine completing the tasks, and yeah, I enjoy it.
And you're doing really well at it, of course, as well. And I think you touched on a really good point there, Bella, that the education approach, if you like, of a diploma is very much getting you ready for work and university at the same time, so that as a graduate of a diploma, you would actually be able to walk straight into a job if that's what you wanted to do. And for example, for you, that could be, say, a paralegal role, and then you could be doing that role while studying at university in law as well. So there's lots of options there, but it certainly does get you ready for that situation of being in the workplace. And we talk about 21st century skills. That's a big part, of course, of this experience for you as students, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely is. It's kind of surreal thinking that you're 16 and you're already studying something that's so amazing and something that you love, and that you're going to have those so many opportunities at the end of it, which I think is really amazing.
Absolutely. So what advice would you give to Year 10 students listening to this, and also their families considering Learn Plus, Bella?
Advice that I would give is know the type of learner you are. I think that's so important. Like Dr. Elliott said at the beginning, it's such a unique pathway, and I think that's what's so amazing about it. When you know the type of learner you are, like I mentioned, I'm a learner that I don't like to be in tests. I like to perform in class and the way I speak and the way I work. When you know the type of learner you are, and that's similar to how I am, or how you think the diploma will benefit you, and something that if you know something that you love and you feel you don't know you'll get the marks for that, it's such an amazing pathway. And even parents, it's such a big opportunity for your children to not only be studying, but to be potentially doing work placement and getting those work skills for the future. So yeah.
And I think that's a really good point. And clearly with our three pathways coaches here, that's a good opportunity to say that these are the experience that our students are heading. I'll give you one more question.
Just breaking up there a bit, Adam.
We'll take you off the hot seat.
I might ask the question, Bella, if that's okay.
That's okay.
What are you No, I'm just going to ask the last question, Adam. What are you most looking forward to about your diploma when we come out of remote learning?
I am hopefully looking forward to starting work placement. I had the amazing opportunity to go through a interview process with a law firm in the city. And it's so exciting that I'll actually be able to apply the learning that I'm learning at the moment through the diploma. And I'm hoping that happens. And further on, like Sir said, a paralegal position at the end would be so unbelievably amazing. And a university qualification with the diploma, like Nikki and Cara said. And yeah, I'm really excited.
Well, we're very proud of you, Bella, and I'm sure that your family are really proud of you too. You represent what's possible when young people take control of their learning, and that you're in charge. And I really love that about the way that you've approached Learn Plus. So congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so it's time to talk about some of the nuts and bolts of the Learn Plus program. You may have heard some of our speakers already refer to ACBC. ACBC is a private college that we currently partner with, and they are the ones who give the credential to the students for the diploma. So the students don't attend the college physically. As Adam said, it's a blended learning model. So the students meet with their trainers from ACBC online, and the assessments are conducted and submitted online, and then ACBC sign off on those assessments being completed. We've partnered with ACBC for 3 years now, and they have offered a suite of diplomas that we're keen to offer to our students, to you, for 2022. It's also important to understand that because this is a partnership with a private college, there's an additional cost to students who are doing the Learn Plus program to cover the cost of the diploma, and more details about that will be given by the Pathways coaches when you meet with them and they make those appointments with you after tonight's webinar. So, Nikki, this is like unwrapping presents on Christmas morning. What have we got to offer our students for 2022 by way of diplomas?
Oh, Greg, it's just like a plethora of diplomas that are available. Thanks for doing a screen share, because I was going to have to start racking my brain about that. We do have a diploma in business, community services, paralegal services, legals, which is what Bella is doing at the moment, early childhood education and care, marketing and communications, and interestingly, at this time in the history of the world, travel and tourism. But there's lots that sort of sits underlying with travel and tourism, including event management, which is really exciting.
Can I take you back a bit, Nikki? Sorry, many people would understand that a diploma of business would be about running a business and managing a business and so on, business planning and procedures. Can you tell us a bit about community services? Because that's a really exciting course.
Community services, we're only offering that for the first time this year, and it is going great guns. Community services is about working with people in marginalised communities or situations. So quite often you're working with the aged, with people with disabilities. You might be working in drug and alcohol. You could be working with Indigenous communities. You could be working with incarcerated, people who are affected by people being incarcerated. There's a whole range of things that fall under the umbrella of community services.
Okay. Just to be clear, our students won't be doing work placement in a prison, will they?
Oh, look, I don't think that's on the cards there, Greg.
No, they won't. Let me be clear. Okay, and the one that we're about to get to is civil construction engineering. That sounds very exciting. Tell us about that.
This is so exciting, and this is actually being offered through a university, not through Australian Catholic University, Australian Careers Business College. This is being offered through Southern Cross University. The Diploma in Civil Construction Engineering Management is an area that is just booming, and pardon the pun. it's billions of dollars are being pumped into construction and civil projects, especially around Western Sydney. It's a crying shame that not more women are in this field. And interestingly, in regular times, outside of COVID times, only about 60% of civil engineering or construction jobs get filled after the first advertising round. This is like madness. You know, they're calling out for civil engineers. We've got the new airport going in. I think the runway's 12 kilometres from Caroline Chisholm. So there is just so many opportunities. I always say to the girls, if you want a career for life and want to be employed for life, get into construction management, whatever, you know, in that field, you're going to be set.
It's our experience, however, recently that girls haven't imagined themselves in these roles at Caroline Chisholm, and it's kind of surprising to them when you and I and Cara and Eliza start talking to students about the possibility of them being project managers on multi-million-dollar or billion-dollar projects. It's like their imaginations haven't grown that big yet, and we really want to push them to imagine themselves in these roles. What do you think is holding them back, Nikki?
It's something like the, you know, if you can't see it, you can't be it kind of mindset. And we don't see a whole lot of women in construction. What we see is those typical, you know, high vis, hard hat sort of images of construction. And that's not what construction's about. There's project management and design elements, and there's all this stuff that's just happening, and it's super exciting. Last year we had, when we did an info session for year 10 last year, Bella might remember, we had Amanda Brown from WIDAC come out, and WIDAC is Women in Design and Construction, and she was talking about, you know, her first experience of construction was about picking up a sledgehammer and demolishing a wall with her dad. And you just, you know, you see some of the girls go, wow, that's really cool. So, you know, we need to see a greater representation of women in construction so that people can see it and can be it.
Yeah. And one of the lovely things that our Pathways coaches do, and this is a credit to all three of our coaches, is they're able to bring the students into contact with professionals in the area that the students are interested in, even if it's just for a chat, even if it's just, it doesn't have to be work experience, doesn't have to be work placement, just for that conversation with someone who may be in a similar field, who can describe what life could be like for our students if they take that kind of a pathway. Now,
one of my favourite things doing with Learn Plus over the last 2 years is connecting the students with their mentors. And loads of our mentors are actually Caroline Chisholm alumni, which is so much fun. The alumni come back and they're like, wow, look at this place. Wish we had this when we were here. And they share their knowledge, and it's really fantastic.
One of the burning questions that would be in the minds of our students and of their parents is, how does this set students up for university entry? The newspapers and online have been filled with conversations about university entry during this argument about the HSC this year. But the diploma seems to be coming out of left field. Are our students going to be in any way disadvantaged by not taking the traditional HSC path?
No, I think they're advantaged by not taking the HSC pathway. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but hey, I'll say it. I just had a question on the Q&A before from one of the mums, and I'll address that now. The question was, her daughter had mentioned that she'd get the diploma qualification and an ATAR. That's not right. You don't get an ATAR when you do the diploma. But what you do get is what we call a selection rank. So when UAC, which is the University Admissions Centre, are processing all of the applications for university, they apply what they call a selection rank to put everybody on a level playing field, because it's not just year 12 students who apply for university. There are people applying for university from all over, people who have been working or who have done other degrees. There's a whole range of different people applying for university. So the ATAR added up with some bonus points gives the girls who take the HSC pathway their selection rank. The diploma gives the girls a selection rank. Now, generally that diploma, the AQF level 5 qualification, will give the girls a selection rank around about the low 80s, 81, 82. It depends on, it changes from year to year, but it will be about the low 80s. So if they want to apply to go to university for a course that's unrelated to their diploma, they can apply with their diploma to any course, knowing that they have a selection rank around about the low 80s.
What about the agreements that we have with particular universities? That means that students will be guaranteed a place once they complete the diploma. Tell us about that.
The articulation agreements are my favourite part of the university, the diploma. It's like queue jumping. So what happens is that ACBC, our provider at the moment, have articulation agreements with a number of universities, notably Western Sydney, Australian Catholic University, the University of Wollongong, and they're working on Macquarie University at the moment as well. And those articulation agreements say they're signed off by both the university and the college, and it says any student who has completed this diploma gets X. Now that X might be guaranteed entry into a particular course. Mostly that X is guaranteed entry into a particular course plus a certain amount of credit. And it's nothing to sneeze at, because we're talking about up to a year's worth of credit at university. So essentially the girls apply to go to university. The university sees, oh, you're from Australian Careers Business College, and we've got this articulation agreement with them. Yep, jump the queue, come in, show us your diploma. We'll give you credit for all of these first year subjects, and you can essentially start in second year university.
So that would also mean then, wouldn't it, Nikki, that those students who take that pathway, for example, Bella, who hopefully will have that articulation agreement into one of the universities, would also save the university fees associated with that first part of their learning. So they've saved some money as well as some time.
You've got it. So when you get credit for subjects, you just don't have to do those subjects. They will appear in your university's transcript as credit given subjects. So you just don't have to do them, which means you don't have to pay for them.
Well, that's wonderful. And the students that we have graduating from year 12 this year, our first cohort of Learn Plus students who started at the beginning of 2020, just before the pandemic started, are looking forward to using those articulation agreements so that they can stroll straight to the front of the line and into university, into the courses that they dreamed of right back in year 10. Those in year 12 who don't want to do that have so many other options with their rank and with their work-ready diploma qualification. Thanks for that, Nikki.
You're so welcome.
So it's time to talk about next steps. We take a small number of Learn Plus students each year. For most students, the HSC will still be the way to go. That comprehensive academic set of subjects that may or may not lead to an ATAR, depending on the combination that your daughters have chosen. That'll be the way that most of our students will study year 11 and 12. But for those who are interested, even slightly interested in Learn Plus, we would like to have a conversation with you so that you can ask all the questions that you want, and you can also have a really good opportunity to hear more about the diplomas, and we can get an idea about your daughter's suitability for the diploma. So if your daughter hasn't done so already, we'd like her to book an interview with our coaches using the form that was circulated via her email last week. If your daughter is one of those naughty Chisholm students who don't check their email very often, then please point your camera at the screen I'm about to put up, scan the QR code, and you can fill in the form for her. So here's the QR code to book a Learn Plus consultation with our coaches. Scan that, fill in some of your details there, and one of our 3 coaches will be in touch with you to talk about the Learn Plus offering in more detail. It'll also give us the opportunity to talk about the costs associated with the program. And I know that that's an important question for lots of parents. The reason why we're not putting prices up on the screen tonight is because they haven't been determined for 2022. And also they're quite a different set of costs depending on the diploma. The way that the AQF, the Australian Qualifications Framework, works is that there's not very much equity between diplomas. And so there's quite a bit of difference between the diplomas, but the coaches will talk you through that in your coaching session with them when you take that opportunity to do that. So make sure you've scanned that code. And if you haven't done so already, to book that time with our wonderful coaches. You'll also see that in the chat column there and in our Facebook comments that Nikki's just dropped in a link to that same form. So you have no excuse now not to book an appointment. I think we've covered all the bases, ladies and gentlemen. There's no excuses. And we really want to have those conversations. We think that education works best when families and the school work really closely together so that we get to understand your needs, your daughter's needs, and try really hard to meet them as best we can. So we've covered a lot of territory in 37 minutes, and it is a different way of thinking about year 11 and 12. But as I said at the beginning, we're committed to providing a pathway for every girl, and Learn Plus is part of that. And as you're considering and your daughters are considering what year 11 and 12 will look like in a hopefully post-pandemic world, you must understand that the world needs people who are skillful and who can take control of their own learning in the same way that Bella has done. And so if you want that for your daughter, if you want her to be in the driver's seat of her own education, then have a careful think about whether any of these diploma pathways might be suitable for her. And even if she does pursue a HSC pathway, as most students will, it's still important to remember that we want skillful learners who are in control of their own learning. And that's what the college is trying to do. And with your help, we have great success in that area. We believe that the product of Caroline Chisholm College is not a HSC result. It's not an ATAR rank. It is a skillful and compassionate graduate. And we're here to work with you to create just that. Just before we finish, as always, we stand ready to support you in your decision making. If things aren't working out for you very well during lockdown and remote learning, reach out to us and let us know how we can help, because we really do want to be there with you through this really challenging but exciting period in your daughter's life. If you would like to contact us via email about anything else that's not covered in that form, then by all means use the coaching email address, which is ccc.coaching@para.catholic.edu.au. And you know that I'm praying for you and for the whole community during this really, really challenging time. Thinking of my students every day, missing them as I get closer to finishing up at the end of this term. I hope that over these next little few weeks, you'll be able to make some good decisions together for your daughter's learning and for her future. So thank you all. God bless and good night.